Well, I got something for me really new here. I mean, it's not new in the sense it's been out for about a year, but I just got it last week. It's from XK, which I gather now is pretty much the same company as WL Toys, and it's called the XK 520, and it's a vertical takeoff converting to horizontal flight plane. Vertical takeoff, similar sort of class of thing, I guess, to the Horizon's X520. Now, I did actually manage to fly this a week ago briefly. I was out doing some training for someone who's just getting into the hobby, mainly a week ago, but I just got this in the mail, so I did bring it out. The wind is threatening to get up now. There's been some quite noticeable gusts. And I don't think this thing is going to like the wind, but we'll see. Now, it has what they claim is an auto takeoff button, but I've never seen it work. I don't know. They say hold the button down till you hear the sound of a drop, whatever that means, then release and press the button again. Well, that was a sound, wasn't it? So now let's press it again. But no, nothing happens. And I think this is what we've seen before. No, and the motors aren't even armed. Okay, let's try one more time. I don't know. Nope. Okay, the other way of getting it to work is to hold there. Is to hold the sticks in or out. I mean, either seem to work, and that seems to arm it. So now let's try. Now it should take off now, I think. Oh, famous last words. I guess I've got it in the wrong mode. My switch had got... I definitely didn't intend to have it in that mode. So I was in the wrong mode. I intend to have it in vertical mode, but I guess I didn't. Okay, so let's try again. We'll try the auto takeoff thing again since I was in the wrong mode before. Oh yes, it actually worked this time. Now, the thing is a bit of a pig to fly in this vertical mode. The wind really gets its surfaces and it can get kind of squirrely. It flies actually a lot better in its stabilized horizontal mode, which I just switched it into. It's a little fast. It's powered by a 2-cell battery, which barely fits into the battery compartment. About 800 milliamp hours, I think, something like that. It actually flies quite stably in this mode. It has trouble with any wind in the vertical mode, and can get a little squirrely, decidedly. It seems like the stabilization in the vertical mode can get really confused if it gets blown around by the wind, and it starts doing some very strange things in the vertical mode. Now, this is stabilized. We will try it very briefly, at least unstabilized. We'll put it back in stabilized because I don't really know what I'm doing up there. This is like 6G stabilization, like your standard, like safe for Horizon, but they call it 6G usually in these Chinese things, or sometimes 6-axis. He's pretty stable in the stabilized mode. And he likes to fly fast, but he can fly relatively slowly. Don't really want to stall him, but he's on the verge of a stall there, I think. Yeah. Still pretty darn dark. Now, the nice thing about this, unlike a lot of these 2-motor vertical things, is that they actually put undercarriage on him, sort of. It's got little wheels on the bottom of those fins, and he's got quite a big nose wheel, which keeps his nose up. So it is possible to land him in this mode, which I was going to try and demonstrate. I think I'm a bit high there, but I was going to try and land him in this mode. And you certainly can. It's certainly possible. you can switch him back into vertical mode and land him vertically, of course, but and in most of these, for most of these vertical things, that's all you can do. But this guy, because he does have the undercarriage, see, he can land even on grass quite reasonably in the horizontal mode, because you can see I'll go a bit closer so you can see better. See, that front wheel on the spring is holding the motors up clear of the ground, so I can still turn the propellers. Might even be able to get him to take them off in this mode. I mean, it's a bit optimistic trying to get him to take off in this mode on the grass, but we can try. Yeah, we did. See, we got him to take off even off grass in that mode. Bit bumpy because it's hard to get him moving over the grass, but the motors are fairly powerful, so they can push him ahead. He's just got little tiny wheels on the bottom of those fins on the end. I'm pretty impressed with this, really. Pretty impressed. Cost me 154 Canadian delivered. Ready to fly with a transmitter and the battery. Don't think they really sell it any other way particularly, and you probably wouldn't want to because you need the special controls and things. And it only took a couple of weeks to come. Okay, let's put it back into vertical mode. Now, as I say, it makes me a little nervous in vertical mode because it can get a bit weird in vertical mode. It's got big surfaces, the wind, oh, well, it fell over, not surprisingly. That pressing those two buttons supposedly completely cuts power to the motor, though it seems to have stopped anyway. Yeah, it's a bit hard to control in vertical mode if there's any wind, not surprisingly. They claim you can fly, what is it up? I think they claim you can fly up to 15 minutes with it. I don't think I'd risk that, but I think that's what they claim. It is a 2-cell battery. Okay, let's try auto takeoff again. It's supposed to auto land as well. We can try that as well, but I don't know whether it'll do much, but we'll try. Okay, try again. Yeah, I don't know. Well, there you go. It auto took off, and it's basically. Oh yes, that's another thing. I gather it's supposed to have a barometer in it to suggest to send back as an altimeter. So it's supposed to be able to maintain its altitude. So they say. This is in drone mode. Now let's see if I press that auto land button. Yep. Yeah, I did a pretty good job of auto landing, didn't it? I was quite impressed by that. So we've actually got the auto takeoff and auto land to work. You just have to hold that button down for a while till it goes beep, basically. Oh, and you need to have the throttle. You need to be in vertical mode, and you need to have the throttle at half. You need to have vertical mode. That's your mode switch, vertical 6G 3D. You need to be in vertical mode with your throttle half, and then you press and hold the takeoff button. And it takes off and hovers about 1 meter or 2 above the ground. And then if I give it more throttle, it goes up more. And then we'll switch it into aeroplane mode. Now, of course, the auto land and auto takeoff only work in vertical mode. And it doesn't have to, it really is pretty darn fast when you give it its throttle. It's pretty darn fast. Go down there and make a full, of course there's a bit of wind as well, which is also pushing it around, but come back this way. Now that's full throttle into the wind. The wind's going that way now. It doesn't look quite so fast when you go into the wind, but yeah, we may be also, I slowed it down there. We may be also getting to the point where the batteries. But I'm impressed by it, I really am. The electronics in these things has just got really, I'm sort of almost stalling it now, but. Now, it does not have GPS, so when you auto land it, it just sort of auto lands where you press the auto land button. It just auto lands where you press, I mean, whether it stands up or falls over is a bit. And the problem is, of course, when it falls over that way, you could brake the propellers. They do give you spare propellers for it, 2 spare propellers, well, which is 1 of each because they're contra-rotating. So you can't put them on the wrong motor. You got to put them on the right motor. One more quick flight, and then we're done with him for today, I think. He's in vertical mode. Let's arm them. Let's take him out off manually this time rather than pressing the auto takeoff. But we've proved the auto takeoff does work. So we push in. Oh, I think I wasn't quick enough there. We arm the motors like that, and then we raise the throttle. And then we'll go into aeroplane mode. Well, I mean, you know, as I say, I'm impressed by this. To me, I don't have the other ones. I don't have the X-Vert. I don't have the, what's the other one they have? The M600. I don't have either of those. This is my first experiment with one of these things. But I'm impressed by it. And I particularly like the fact that it had the option, you know, to land. It has actual undercarriage. It has the option to land horizontally as well as vertically, and to take off horizontally as well as vertically. I thought that was a very nice feature. Yeah, I just asked it to auto land again. It's not doing a bad job. Oh, it fell over the right way this time. It's better if it falls over onto its undercarriage rather than falls over onto its back, because if it falls over on its undercarriage, the propellers are protected. Pressing the, supposedly they say pressing the stick mode and photo buttons simultaneously cuts power to the motors, if there's any doubt about whether the motors are turning. It's a bit wet. He's quite wet between one thing and another, having landed both right way up and upside down, and the grass is quite wet. But anyway, yeah, I'm pretty impressed with this little guy for what he can do. See, there's his little tiny wheels that he depends on the back there, and then he's got a nice big sprung wheel there that holds him up enough to keep his propellers off the ground. That's just clipped on, that vertical stabilizer. It just snaps in, so just making sure it's not falling out, because there's actually nothing holding it in, no screw or glue or anything. It's just pushed in. These are held in by little screw clips, and those are still good. I just want to show you one more thing. Just wanted to show you. Oh, get out of it, bugs. So this is the battery compartment on the bottom here. And as you can see, there is not much room for the battery. That's the battery. You start to get a swollen battery, it's not going to go in there, because it's hardly got room to get in. What is it? 900 milliamp hours. 900 milliamp hours. Anyway, there you go. The XK X520 vertical takeoff plane with a bug attacking it. Attack of the giant bugs.